There we go. So I'll just double check we are live. Perfect. So hello everyone and welcome to the Talking Stick Show. So I am joined by two special guests this morning as we welcome spring as we go forward into the great summer. So I'm joined by Rob and Kim. Hello.
Hello.
So we'll start with Rob, if you'd like to introduce yourself and a little bit about your background and what you do.
Thanks, Dale. Yeah, so I'm Rob Knowles, one half of Ecstatic Dance Yorkshire. Well, we both share the roles in the dance. So sometimes I DJ, and sometimes I open the space with a movement practice and everything like that. My background is I got into DJing as a teenager. So for my 18th birthday, I got some money and I immediately went out and bought Technics turntables. So I was really into dance music back then, and going out to some nightclubs in Leeds where I was just really into the music and the energy that was on the dance floor.
What type of music did you go out and what? Because I used to go out and listen to a lot of DJs. What style of music did you listen to?
It was house music, I would say.
Yes.
I was quite into the sort of French house around the time. Daft Punk, Basement Jacks were a favourite. So I saw like some of these artists. They actually came to Leeds. There was a club called Back to Basics, which
I've been a few times,
yeah, some really big names, and I just loved it. You know, drive all the way from Skipton into Leeds, go out clubbing, and then drive back home, and it was like, yeah, just for the energy and this sense of community, because it was a weekly night. So there were some real regulars that would go to that night. You'd see them, you know, week after week. So it was like a really friendly atmosphere in there. And then I went to university in London and found like all different styles of music in London. So my music taste and DJing went into hip hop, soul and funk, a lot of different styles. Eventually I ran out of money because buying vinyl is a very expensive habit. So I kind of put my DJing on a back burner, and I stopped doing it because without the records I didn't have a way to play. So I was also traveling. I had a few years where I was traveling to Australia, around Asia and other things. So my iPod was my source of music. And yeah, DJing was on hold for quite a long time until I came back, and I've been working in an office job for several years. But I was looking for a way to relax and release my energy, you know, after being sat down all day. So I got into dancing. Obviously, there was kind of bars and nightclubs, but something that was maybe more powerful for me was when I got into Lindy Hop dancing. So that's sort of 1920s and 30s music from America, together with a partner dance with set moves, and you can, you know, very much focused on the dancing, and it's more of a kind of sober space. Some people do have the odd drink, but because they're trying to put together some coordinated dance moves, you know, it's very much more about the music, more about the dance. So I did that for a few years, went to a few sort of Lindy Hop exchanges around the country. And then salsa, I got into salsa as well. Again, you know, partner dance, different style of music. So I finally came around to
Summing up.
it's the big answer to a short question. But basically I found, Five Rhythms dance here in the UK, which is a free form dance with some guidance and quite an eclectic mix of music, and I really loved that. And I was kind of looking for more how to get involved with that, and I did some Googling, found about ecstatic dance, and that's brought me to here.
Well, no, that brought you to Amsterdam.
Yeah. Well, there was very little or no ecstatic dance going on near me here in Leeds, so yeah, I searched online and found there was a training course going on in Amsterdam. That was, so I flew over there, and that brought me to Kim.
And into that, it's extraordinary that so your journey has gone from the club scene to kind of the different aspects, and obviously going into an area like ecstatic dance where there's no drinking involved. It's a different frequency of dance, I'd say. It's exceptional because I've gone through that, and I used to love dancing, and it was for me a big form of freedom. And what was it like for you going through that process of the difference between going out in a club to the difference to holding your events? What are the different, I'd say, the differences in between them? What are they like? Because a lot of people like to go out, but they go out and associate dancing with drinking, and it was the same with me before. Let's talk a little bit about that from your perspective of what it's like trying to transition, because for me, I was always looking for that. I was, when I got through my own darknesses, my own problems, addictions, when I moved past that, and there's the part of me which really enjoyed the dance, and I saw your event, I saw some other events, and I was like, wow, people are doing it without without that aspect behind it, and it's beautiful.
Definitely, yeah, it does make a big difference. I think I gradually got into that through little steps. One step was the Lindy Hop and the salsa dancing, where alcohol was there, but it was more of an obstacle. It actually made you a worse dancer because so that's how I learned about. It was a gradual thing.
I think some people think that it gives them courage to step out their thinking bubble, just do more.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And so how long? So salsa as well. How long were you doing salsa for?
Maybe just a year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the styles of music, while I found it really interesting and I felt like I was, on holiday in a beach bar by listening to this salsa music, it wasn't quite as diverse as I wanted. After a whole night of that, I was craving other sounds and other styles. And what I really love about five rhythms and ecstatic dance is just that basically any style of music could be played, so you never know what to expect, and it gives you a real chance to use all your moves and express different emotions as well, because some of the songs are very calm or a little bit sad, and others are really chaotic and full energy. So yeah, it's the music. But
And Five Rhythms, can you just, before we go on to Kim, can you explain a little bit about what Five Rhythms is about, and for those who are not aware of what Five Rhythms is?
yeah, sure. I think it's the most well-known and widespread form of free-form dance. There was a lady called Gabrielle Roth over in the United States who created that dance school, if you like. But she was inspired by really ancient dances like tribal dances, shamanic dances, and she formed a whole sort of system and explanation around it. The five rhythms are it's a little test.
On the spot.
Yeah.
I can say we don't do five rhythms.
Yeah, I'm not trained and qualified in it because it's such an established system now.
Yes.
That it requires quite a lot of training and certification. So what actually drew me to ecstatic dance is that it's more of an open source kind of format. That the name isn't a trademark, and while there's guidelines, there's not a lot of kind of rules and registration around it. But yeah, a lot of people in the UK do know five rhythms. It's essentially a free-form dance which is facilitated and follows a wave. Now that's another thing that
what
maybe
do we have in common?
Yeah, so a wave of energy, starting the music quite gently and building that up, a stronger beat, maybe a faster tempo, up to a point where it peaks, and often call that the kind of chaos point because the music's so full on. It sounds a bit chaotic, and then it comes back down to a gentle ending, and we often end in.
That's also not a rule to start like this.
No, yeah, it's just you have waves can be different shapes. We can have several waves, or we could actually end on a high. But
that's it. That's reminding me of when I used to go out and to watch some DJs. I used to go to a night called Loosh and a few other ones where they'd have some really spectacular, special musicians, DJs on there, and they'd go at the start of the evening. It would just be a real low, and they'll turn it up as the evening goes, and towards the end, it's just complete chaos. Right when it gets to the kind of main sets and all of that. So Kim, hello. Let's talk a
Hello.
little bit about hello. So let's talk about your journey and how you got into to where you are today.
Oh, now I need to start with my childhood too, or not? If you start it like that. Well, I wouldn't say I always liked dancing. I did different kinds of dances, and now you're gonna laugh because I did line dancing too. Rob's laughed with that. I did. I did not salsa, but like waltz and cha-cha-cha, the jive, those kind of dances. I did that in my teenager years, 20s. I like going out, festivals and stuff like that. My dad was a DJ. Did not get much from him, but just to mention that. Yeah, just into music, a lot of dancing. I got into martial arts, capoeira. I don't know if you know that, but I did that for 10 years. And that is what I think, the community feeling, what I liked, the singing, making music yourself, if compared to dancing and making music. And I moved from Belgium to the Netherlands, and I missed something because I did not do that in the Netherlands anymore. And I came across, I need to do something. I tried CrossFit, and then I came into ecstatic dance. I worked as a mental health nurse there, and I needed something to, you work a lot with your head, and then you need something to, from your head to your body, get out of your system. That kind of, you need it. So I went on for dancing to ecstatic dance because it's a conscious dance movement. Every weekend, sometimes more times in a week, just go for dancing, and it helped me a lot. I'll want to do more with it, and that's why I went to the training where I met Rob. I was not planning to fall in love with him or moving to England at all. But here I am now.
Here you are, the great mysteries of life.
Oh, I know. Yes. But it was before Brexit. It was before the whole COVID thing that we met, and those things helped to make those decisions. Moving to England. And one of the reasons that I want to move to England is to start here or ecstatic dance. That's what we did in lockdown. So we started online or ecstatic dances. In the Netherlands, it's really, really big, and almost every city has their ecstatic dance. I think it's one of the biggest things in Europe, the Netherlands, for ecstatic dance. Though, it started in Hawaii, but the Netherlands, it was like 10 years now that they have their ecstatic dances.
And did you
Mention the Netherlands.
and did you have another modality of healing you did, which you talked about?
Oh, yes.
As a practitioner, was that part of your journey? Were you doing that, or?
Well, by moving to the Netherlands, to England, I did not work as a mental health nurse anymore. I was going on, or I was doing my sabbatical, and I was going to a journey myself about healing myself as a woman, womb healing, and I came across mesotherapy. Mesotherapy, yes. And that is to help women, also men, but I start with women, to help with healing their, it's actually bringing back balance in their womb, their digestive system. Emotional trauma is stored there. So that is another part what I do now. together with Ecstatic Dance.
Outstanding. And so you two met there, and did you decide to come back together, or was it a kind of a gradual process of maybe this is something we can co-create together, and maybe we're contracted to come together and work together in this way? What was some of the behind the scene things going on there?
Is it Ecstatic Dance, you mean? Or?
So with you two coming together at in Amsterdam, which I
Oh,
think is
yes.
wonderful, how you've both co-created together and now you're living
You want to
together.
tell the story? You tell the story.
You tell the
I
story.
like it. You tell the story.
Sorry.
I like it.
I think from what you were asking, Dale, about whether, how we came to that decision to do it, to create Ecstatic Dance, it always felt a really natural thing. Like it was meant to be for us to create a dance together, because we had met doing ecstatic dance facilitation training. And then we kept in touch. And then, I came over to visit. It was going to be, a long distance relationship. And I thought, I'll come over for kind of a second date.
A long second day.
A long weekend. Yeah. And then the world sort of locked down. So the second date lasted for 2.5 months. I spent the first part of the lockdown in 2020, in the Netherlands, and actually, it opened up so many possibilities for us, because our schedules were all of a sudden, we had clear schedules. The distance wasn't an issue. We were actually together. We could continue to connect with our dance. So we would dance online, on Zoom calls in the living room, and we stayed in contact with our other students on the course.
Yeah.
We even did some further training, I think, online. So we kind of really continue to cement the dance thing as part of our identity together, isn't it? As well.
That's a good thing, because that's what brought us together, and it's nice to share that with the world, isn't it? Yeah.
Outstanding. And that's beautiful, guys. It is exceptional to see, and like you said, it is, as I've seen and looked in the past, there's a lot of ecstatic dance movements throughout the world. It's very big, and you seem to come to England and there's not as many, there's not as much going on, isn't there? It's very bizarre. What are you doing at the moment? You're doing your events in Leeds, is it?
Yeah, mostly in Leeds. We do dance the first Sunday of every month at Open Source Arts, which is in Leeds on Kirkstall Road, and that's a Sunday morning dance.
It's a really beautiful building and a good sound system. A spring floor, so that's good to dance on.
Is that silent disco, or is that with speakers?
No, that's with speakers.
Okay.
So we started online, via Zoom, because that was the only option, and then we went outdoors via wellness with the silent disco headphones, because that was the only option at that time.
Yes.
And we did that through the summer, and in autumn we went indoors because it got colder and we wanted a sound system. So that's where we went to Open Source Arts. But now we're thinking about doing both, like one time, with the sound system, and maybe travel through Yorkshire with the silent disco headphones during summer.
That'd be outstanding.
Saying that now, but
yeah,
there's some good areas for, like, even York. I rent out a space at Strensall. It's just it's pretty much a village hall, but it's massive. It's a big sports hall, and you can play loud music there. You can get loads of people in. There's loads of room. It's comfortable, warm. So if you ever want any ideas, I rent out the space. It's a good price as well. Let us know, and I'll be happy to. I'd love to come regularly to your events, because dancing for me has helped me really engage with freedom, and I think that's the best way I can describe what dance is all about. If you could, obviously it's hard to say in one word, but freedom for me comes with the best expression of being able to let go. And like you said, Kim, you need something to let go of, like when you went through you're doing the training, the CrossFit and everything like that, you wanted to kind of going to that state where you just feel good getting out of the head, getting out of the mind whispers, so on. And for me, dancing is exceptional because even people, the regular folk who just don't really into spirituality or anything at all, dancing kind of connects them still because when they've had a few drinks or they're out somewhere at a party, they'll get up and dance, and that natural instinct and motion will come through. So let's go into the mechanics a little bit about dancing and why dancing is so important. So we'll start with you, Rob, just to kind of go into a bit of a flow about what dancing has done for you personally and what you've seen in other people's lives dancing can do for them.
Yeah, I think you said it really well with the freedom side. I often think, it kind of, I've sometimes thought of as rewilding or untaming of my like spirit. So when I've been feeling like slightly in a box, maybe through work, through being on the computer a lot, sat down a lot, or all of that, the music leads me in because I always had that interest in the music, and then the movement seems to allow the energies in my body just to kind of balance out. I think that, some of the mechanics of it, I mean, like the way you can build up from a slow beat, building up for longer, having the lights turned down low, for example, or less, taking a little bit of the focus away from what your eyes. We spend a lot of time looking out at the world, but if we can kind of soften our gaze a bit when we're doing our dance, then we can feel a lot more in our bodies. We can hear a lot more in the music. So that's one part that's nice. And I think the playfulness as well. Dance for me, I've never been interested in dance competitions really. Even when I did the Lindy Hop, and there are there's this whole world championship, where you could get into the competitive side. That wasn't a thing. So I've always just danced for the joy of it. And sometimes the more silly you are, the more fun it is. Doing the robot dance or the worm or anything.
The worm.
That's
New backbreakers.
That's big move. Yeah. But the playfulness of it just means it's so different to other parts of life. Yeah, and I find that it gets me into that state of playfulness and joy.
Outstanding. Yeah. And for you, Kim, what was dancing from your time of doing it? What does it express for you, or some of the things you've seen?
Yeah, I agree with what Rob said. But also it helps me to let go. Sometimes I'm in my head, and then just dancing helps me to let go of that emotional baggage, what you carry with you. Also, not thinking, just doing, just dance or move. And I need a little bit of time to get into that space in my body. So that's why the music is really important to build that up.
Outstanding.
I also like to see other people who going into that state of mind. You see a lot of people who come for the first time, and they're uncertain or a bit afraid, and they just gather around the edges of the dance floor, and then it's like, ooh. But gradually, when the dance is going on, you see them dancing like this, and like that inner child. We always knew how to dance, but sometimes we forgot how to enjoy it, or think, are we good at it, or we judge ourselves. Is this a good move, or just
is someone watching?
Yeah.
Is someone gonna judge us?
Just when you're kids, you don't think about that. You just dance or do or move. But the older we get, it's like, oh, can I do it? And we got like really stiff and Then the robot is really handy, but
That's nice. The serious stiff robot.
yeah, doing
And
and being.
outstanding, and then that's something for me which is great because I've had a lot of tears from dancing, and when I've danced for a while, I feel like it does resolve a lot of spiritual issues as well. If you've got some deep away traumas or something where you haven't touched or you haven't seen, through dance you can access those and understand where those traumas and trapped memories are. So that was for me. I've had personal experiences of going through dance and crying afterwards because there was a memory which came through which I totally forgot. Because,
Mm,
like you say, Rob, is that innocence and that feeling of joy is so important. And I feel innocence is one of the most powerfulest frequencies we can admit as human beings. Once we're in that state of innocent, the inner child state, we pretty much can do whatever we really want to do in spiritual terms. That we can be so happy, we can be so free, we can smile, because so many people come to me and they've got so serious faces and life serious, and they've got job roles, they've got tax to pay, they've got this and that. Those are some of the things we have to deal with as humans. But when we come to an event like your Ecstatic Dance or other events, we can go there and we go, right, this is the time where I can let down all my shit. This is a time where I can de-stress and I can go within. So let's go into the actual event itself. If you want to start, Rob, maybe the start of when we come to one of your event. What do we go through? What's the process of getting there, and what happens?
Yeah, so we normally allow sort of 10-15 minutes to arrive in the space, so the people aren't just walking in the door and straight onto the dance floor. It gives them a little bit of time to get themselves comfy with their clothing, have a drink, get all kind of set up. Then we invite people over to the dance floor. We didn't really talk about the guidelines, but one of them is around the dance floor being a verbal free space. So, we don't talk with words, but we kind of talk with our bodies and our movement. So we kind of encourage people to just come over and gradually settle down on the dance floor. Often that takes the form of a circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, not always. Just we start with warming up music.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll have some sort of gentle music playing,
Yeah.
and
just to arrive in the space and the dance floor.
yeah, and another one of the guidelines is about that it's best to dance barefoot or in socks. So again, the dance floor is sort of like a shoe-free area as well. So yeah, people just kind of get themselves settled in that way. Obviously, phones on silent or as far away as possible. And yeah, we gather, we welcome everyone, check if people are dancing with us for the first time or ecstatic dance for the first time. We always go through the guidelines, which I've sort of said about verbal free,
Perfect.
barefoot dancing, and
No drugs or alcohol.
no drugs or alcohol. Yeah. We don't breath
Someone
around.
just comes in with a beer. Have you had that yet?
So far, our venue, like we having them on Sunday mornings, for example, is like a really good time because it's not when people would normally associate with that kind of event. So yeah.
And dancing with respect.
Yeah, dancing with respect for other people and for yourself, because we can move in any way and verbalize and making sounds and all sorts of things. That's all welcome, but there's just an element of sort of respect for the person next to you. Yeah, and then yeah.
Kim, what are some of the future plans for Ecstatic Dance Yorkshire then? What are some of the things you're wanting to do this year?
Oh, good question. I want to do so much. Yeah. Like I said, maybe just go aesthetic dance on through all of Yorkshire, dancing outdoors and different places, parks, indoor outdoor spaces. Maybe a festival. I don't know. Last year we went to Beulah. That was really good. Maybe a festival. But just most important thing is just to grow and dance with more and more people.
And I think that's really needed, is that an event somewhere at a location where it's regular, where you
Yeah.
can obviously have that building you can go back to, and that's something which a lot of the spiritual events miss. Is the regular events, obviously the spiritual church and stuff like that, which do regular week events. So I'm definitely wanting to gonna come through and experience it for myself. I know Craig Eddington, my good friend, pops through and was there not a few days ago. So what
Yeah.
was it like at the festival then? What was the frequency there? How many people came and did the dance? Because I can imagine that would have been a quite quite a busy one, the Bellua Festival.
Yeah, we did the silent disco at Beulah.
Beulah, sorry,
Um,
yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah.
We went, or we did our dance after Mobilis Loop. So that was like, um, but how many headphones did we have at that time? Yeah, 50?
Yeah.
50 headphones, so 50 people-ish
Okay,
were
yeah.
dancing with us. That was really good. Um,
And what are some of the differences then between the silent disco and the actual speaker? What are some of your, do you prefer it, or is it just so different, the experiences? Because I can imagine with the headphones on, there's a lot more, because it's silence out there, it's very different. And with the actual
yeah.
speaker, it's kind of, you've got that music coming all around you. So what's it like for you to,
Mm.
with those two different experiences?
Um, for me, I think the silent disco headphones is more an inward journey. That you dance in your own bubble and have that journey by yourself, while you dance with a sound system or the speakers. It's more a thing that you do as a group. I think you can interact more with other people. That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah. One of the nice things about the headphones is that you get the same sound quality no matter where you are in the space. So if you are outdoors, you can actually explore and really stay connected to the music. So we were at Temple Newsome recently and out in the field, and you could wander through the daffodils, through the trees, and still be as if you were right next to the speakers, So it keeps.
Yeah.
So that's really nice to actually be able to explore a natural area and then come back. You don't have to stand next to the speakers all the time. So I find that really nice. But also it helps with keeping. You don't almost want to speak to other people because you've got that. You wouldn't be able to hear them anyway, So it does help maybe with people who are really new to it, like in a festival setting, to kind of maybe chat a little bit less, because it just puts that natural reminder that you're doing something different.
And for someone new then coming in and listening or wanting to come to one of your events, but they're quite nervous about expressing themselves in front of people, what was your advice for them to be? Because I know that a lot of people will see your event and think, oh, that's great, but there'll be something inside of them which would be like, oh, I'm too scared to take that next step and actually have that confidence to be around people and do that without having an influence of a drink. What would your be advice for those people who are kind of on the fence, wanting to explore it, but they're quite concerned about a few things?
Just try it.
Just try it. Yes, that's a just jump.
No, I mean, I understand. We were all at that stage at one point. Everyone went to an ecstatic dance or a dance for the first time. I remember my first time, I was dressed up like really warm clothes because it was cold the first time. And I was dancing and was sweating my ass off like crazy. And I was taking off layers. But I did not know that you can just dance and an ecstatic dance just in leggings or shorts, really comfortable clothes, what you feel good in. I thought, it's like going out, but it was not. that was my experience with it. And then, next time it was just really comfortable clothing. What I like at aesthetic dance, when you go out, I did not like, and this is maybe feminine thing, that other guys, come and make advantage or just dance with you or touch you like if you don't want it. That happens in nightclubs or
Yes,
places like
yes.
that. And I always want to dance, but that was holding me back from going out in nightclubs and places like that. But it's not ecstatic dance. It's like a safe space to dance. You can dance and be as sexy as you want.
Yes.
You can twerk if you want, without having that sexual layer around it. So that helped me just to express myself a bit more. And I think that's also good to know for, first timers, that it's a safe space, that you can be who you want or dance how you want.
Outstanding. And you can do the worm as well, can you, Robin?
Yes.
On the floor.
Yeah, every time, no.
Yeah, and you don't have to dance all the way through the event. It's also, sitting down and watching some of the dance is also taking part. You're witnessing other people's movements and everything like that. So
Yeah.
and you can do dance as little as you like. Very small movements. There's no expectation, and what you actually find is that when you look around, no one's really paying that much attention to you. They're there to have their own dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's taking part. There's no audience there. It's all dancers, and it is a big step to come to your first one. So I mean, don't want to like underplay that or diminish it. It's huge. We know people. It's taken them years to actually step through the door for the first time. But yeah, we try and make it as accessible as possible. We've done some little taster dances here and there. But at the end of the day, it is one of those sort of brave steps. But do it for your own well-being. You're worth it.
And that's beautiful. And that's the thing is, I feel for me when I had my thinking of going in front of people, I think we've been programmed with dancing as performance. So everything, when we see dancing, you would just see that as a professional. They're out on stage, they're going to perform. So for the regular person, you come into an event, it feels like you're performing, but you're not performing. You're just experiencing and being free and being yourself. But there's that layer of see, the society's kind of imprinted that performance and the stage and all these big things, and it's kind of just getting rid of those.
Yeah, but that's what, what's on the TV.
Yes.
I don't know because we don't have a TV, but the layers or the layers, the things what you see is like you dance good or not. What's the show on?
Well, Strictly Come
Strictly
Dancing
Come Dancing
comes to mind.
There we go. Yes.
You get like you're good or you're not good, and I mean how they dance is like breathtaking.
Yes.
If I was there, I think I can do it for a circle or a thingy, but and they still say you're not good. You're not good at what you do. You get like,
That's it. And so, what have you got coming up then, guys? Before we wrap up the show, what are your next events?
The next one is Sunday, the 1st of May. Yes. Open source art. It's from 10:15. The dance till 12:45. Sorry.
Yeah.
But we do like a social afterwards because it's a special day about Tang. So we want to do a potluck afterwards, maybe sharing some things with other people. We can have the space outdoors and open source art, so hopefully the weather is good.
Outstanding. And it would be, if you're interested in any of the details for around the area, Strensall, because I do feel that where I do events with Christian and do some regular workshops there, it's just pretty much a big sports hall, but it's got heating and it's got loads of room and it's good price. So
Yeah.
I feel those for me, because I've expanded into bigger venues. I feel sports halls, community centres are the best because they're big. You've got all the facilities there. They're really comfortable. So let me know, and I'd be honoured
Yeah.
to have you close, because it's only 10 minutes walk from me.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
So we're interested in that.
yes, it's
Make that
brilliant.
happen.
And I'd love that. I'd come, and obviously I'd share the event and try get as many of my students or anything. I'd share the event with those, because I do really think it's special, and a place for to open up and actually let down and dance. It's exceptional. I think dancing is one of the most powerfulest things we can do to express ourselves. So yeah, how can people get a hold of you guys? We'll start with you, Rob. If people need to get in touch with you, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I think the best place is our Facebook page, which is Ecstatic Dance Yorkshire. We post all our events on there. Also include the music mixes that we record during most of the events, so you can get a flavour of the music that we dance to. And then if you've got a question, there's a way to drop a message on there. It'll come through to us, Messenger or WhatsApp, I think. Yeah. And we also, Kim also maintains our Instagram, and we have a website.
Yes. So Instagram is also Ecstatic Dance Yorkshire, and the website is ecstaticdanceyorkshire.co.uk.
Brilliant, beautiful. And yes, it's an absolute pleasure and honour to have you on today and to meet you both. And I look forward to coming to one of your events as well.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, brother, and great to meet you, Kim. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching the Talking Stick Show. We're back tomorrow. I'll be with the great Lily Hayes as well. We'll talk about trauma and all different types of things. So thank you again, guys, and thanks for everyone watching the Talking Stick Show. Goodbye. See you later. Take care.
Bye.